Anatta in Buddhism, is there a self? Heaven, hell, gods, ghosts, angels, Santa are our imaginations. Similarly, the idea of self is an imagination that we are caught in. Let's explore. Our beginning. If we explore the development of our fathom-long body from a tiny single cell known as zygote, that was jointly formed by our parents, the mere embryonic development process deserves to be recognized as the wonder of the world. How can such a tiny cell have all the capabilities to make this complex human being in 9 months? Head of the family tree. Starting with dividing itself into several cells, followed by creating specialized cells to form the fetus that produces a human being, our first cell has demonstrated its master craftsman-like dexterity in unfolding the instructions embedded in it. We could be absolutely wrong if we assume that its mission has a goal to stop this flawless plan at some stage in our life, but to expect the continuation of its ambitious task until our last breath. Who is the commander? Where is the brain behind this tiny cell's marvelous operation? Where is the brain behind the first cell? I don't think even the modern science can provide an answer to this question, but we can be certain that the first cell would have ensured we to be what it wanted us to be. We can assume our brain is a creation of this marvelous operation, to establish a control center for the mind-body system, but thinking broadly we could wonder whether the creation of our brain is part of the cunning master plan of the first cell to make us feel the ownership while keeping the reins to itself to make us dance to its tune. Let's see the core functions of our brain. It's the control center for the body and the seat of intelligence. It maintains the circadian rhythm and alert on body irregularities. It retains certain information in memory and create programs for functions and processes. It creates thoughts, emotions, make decisions, predicts, activates reward systems and judges on risk-taking. It caters hormonal requirements throughout our life phases, like at infancy, youth, pregnancy, childbirth, old age, etc. What happens after we are born? From day one our brain gets bombarded with information coming from the 5 senses causing confusion. The infants start developing programs to recognize these inputs using the elementary skill set inherited through the evolution DNA roots. At this age these programs get developed at an exponential rate, enhancing the growth and developments of physical and mental functions. The memory sectors gradually get filled with useful past information, experiences and programs we develop for daily functions. Physical and mental developments of infants. The senses recognition programs run in the background of the brain all the time to receive new inputs, process them and make judgments. Similarly, the infants gradually learn the physical functions such as turning over, crawling, walking, etc. All these programs are developed on DIY basis without any coaching under the master plan. These become the base foundations for adult life. What else happens at this age? With the operation of the sensory faculties, the birth of the idea I come into the thinking system. The ability to read its memory and ability to make choices, attribute to establish this ego-based center. Learning a language gives the ability to communicate, opening a new avenue to influence one's mental development with others' ideas, generally sourced by the parents, media, society, etc., that condition the psyche. Similar to the self-taught programs like walking, talking, etc., the ideas gained from others at small age can easily get etched in the brain to become the roots of the psyche. What is thinking? Thinking has to be learned. Thinking happens through the programs that we keep developing from day one. The thinking programs generate thoughts. Accessing past data in the memory is an integral part of the process. The thoughts get read by the reading program that we have developed. Very often thoughts get looped back for rethinking. The programs that run for physical actions function almost on auto mode, with minimum deliberate thinking. Brain cell networks. Scientific studies picture that all our actioning, thinking, emotions, etc., are orchestrated by the cell networks communicating with each other, just like having a huge number of people holding hands, dancing together, making ever-changing circles and organized together in such a way that every cell belongs at some time to some circle. When these networks are in active communication we feel the presence of the pseudo-self. This delusional feeling is not present when cell networks are in deep sleep, not dreaming state, or complete unconscious state. Delusion of self. We will never be able to find or pinpoint the person I or commander or thinker to any of the synapses or any cells or any plausible cell networks in the brain or body. Reality of I or self or soul or the entity we try to account for this feeling, is an illusion created by dancing and chatting of the cell networks in the brain. Modern science strongly back this reality. Let's explore this concept further. It would be good to inquire what happens to the self that we assume, when we are in deep sleep or in totally unconscious state. In these states the chatting and dancing of brain or cell networks do not happen, there is no communication whatsoever. Under these states any inputs from the five senses or from the memory, do not get subject to processing, the physical life goes on, but the mind that create the pseudo-self is completely inert. Hence, virtually it is a live body, only. When we wake up the chatting and dancing, miraculously come back activating the feeling of the pseudo-self. Anatta, the Buddhist non-self concept. Similar to an optical illusion of a mirage to our eye-brain system, self is an illusion to our mind-brain system. This is what the Buddha discovered as Anatta and explained to the five ascetics by Annattalakkhana Sutta, that enabled them to shed their lifelong Vedic belief of soul concept and the realization of enlightenment. Awakening encompasses integration of this reality to our thinking process and experience living with this reality. Our brains fool us cunningly. When we are fully absorbed in watching a movie, we start experiencing real emotions that even make us to shed tears. This is applicable to cartoon films too. It never occurs to our mind that these fictitious characters are the creations of clever directors and authors. Self is a similarly fabricated cartoon character that we have created and mistakenly confused to believe such a self really exists. But no sooner the mindfulness come into cognition, there will be a different awareness of the sensual feelings and the false realization of their attachment to a delusional entity. Produced by Shelton Ranasinghe. Thanks for watching. Please leave your comments.